Tonight, north of the border, former Southsider Mark Buehrle will try to follow up Marcus Stroman's complete game shutout as he takes on Jake Arrieta. Beautiful night here in Toronto as Comcast Sportsnet brings you Chicago Cubs baseball. Tonight, the Cubs try to end a 4-game losing streak and put a dent in the Blue Jays' wild card hopes. And welcome to Cubs baseball. Jim DeShays and Len Casper. We're going to talk some pitching here as we get you set for the first pitch tonight. Marcus Stroman, maybe the best start we have seen all season long last night.
Yeah, obviously the Cubs are scuffling. They've scored just 7 runs in the last 4 ball games. Clearly they miss Rizzo and they miss Castro. But last night was mostly about this young man, Marcus Stroman, 22 years of age, just a couple of years removed from Duke University. He was outstanding all night long. Ironically, the second pitch of the game was a comebacker off the bat of Chris Coughlin. Almost hit him in the face. He was able to duck that, and then he took complete control of the game. Complete game shutout, allowed 3 hits, didn't walk anybody, 8 strikeouts. Very impressive stuff from the young right-hander.
Yeah, the Cubs still haven't seen second base offensively in this series. Mark Buehrle, we know how quickly he works. He's had an interesting year, got off to a great start. It's been just okay as of late, although coming off a really good one.
And All-Star again this year. Buehrle got out of the gate 10-1, and obviously things have gone a little bit south since then, but it would be very difficult to maintain that pace. But there are the numbers: 12 starts, 10-1, a 2.10 ERA. Since then, just 1 win, 8 losses, a 4.42 earned run average. Last time out, however, 8 innings of shutout baseball.
If anybody's familiar with the Blue Jays, it's Jake Arrieta pitching for the Baltimore Orioles now. He's a Cub, and his numbers not so great against this team.
No, they're not, but I don't think the Blue Jays are familiar with Jake Arrieta, because this is not the same Jake Arrieta that they saw in a Baltimore uniform. This is a guy that's turning into a very good starting pitcher in the major leagues, having a career season. These are career single-season bests for Arrieta in all these categories: starts, innings, strikeouts, and that walks plus hits per innings pitch of 106, one of the best in all of baseball.
So the Blue Jays, they need every win they can get. 19 games to go. They're 5 back in the wild card. Jose Bautista in a very hot stretch last night. Hit his 8th home run in his last 12 games. Cubs and Jays are next.
Is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. AT&T Uverse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. Ford. Check out America's freshest lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online, only at southwest.com.
Gorgeous downtown Toronto, and we have been blessed with great weather here these first couple of nights. Roof open last night, same deal again here this evening as the Cubs try to get some offense here with a C. We're in Canada. Here's the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Chris Coghlan in the leadoff spot in left. Javier Baez at short. Jorge Soler. Ooh, that was fun. Cool. Has hit in 9 of his first 10 games. Luis Valbuena in the cleanup spot. Castillo, Alcantara. Chris Baleka plays first. Matt Caesar gets the start in center, hitting 9th.
Defense for the Jays tonight brought to you by Kia. Pilar Dos Batista, left center right. Valencia and Reyes third and short. Going, man, he made a spectacular play to end the ball game last night. He's yet to make an error at the big league level this year. 183 errorless chances for Ryan Goins at second base. And Big Adam Lind is the first baseman. Encarnacion initially in the lineup at first base, but they made a late switch. So it's Adam Lind at first. Deoner Navarro behind the plate. Our Lexus pursuing perfection pitcher, and he did pitch a perfect game at one time. It's the veteran Mark Buehrle. 28 starts, 11 up, 9 down, 3.34 ERA. League gets 287 against him. Pretty similar numbers versus left and right. He is a pitch to contact, quick working, strike throwing, finesse guy. Average fastball velocity 84 miles an hour.
Your umpires for tonight, led by the crew chief Jerry Lane. He's got the mask on. Wendelstedt, Estabrook, and Barber around the bases. The 35-year-old Mark Buehrle deals ball one high. Nope, a strike at the belt. And if tonight's Cubs leadoff man gets a hit, Benny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to JDRF. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. 0-2.
We're on Buehrle time tonight. And you'll see the Cub hitters step out from time to time to try to take him out of his rhythm. No one in the game works quicker than Mark Buehrle.
No, he takes less time between pitches than anybody. They've got stats for that stuff now. He and R.A. Dickey rate very highly in that regard. I was watching him play catch in the outfield before he went into the bullpen. Jake Arrieta was doing the same thing in the opposite corner. And Buehrle was throwing 2 pitches for every one Arrieta threw, so he even warms up fast.
He can't even eat a marathon bar slowly.
Strike 3 call. Chris Coghlan, you could probably hear him on our home plate microphone say, whoa, 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 whoa. 1 away.
Well, let's see. Navarro sets up off the outside corner. Buehrle hits his spot. Probably a little bit outside.
I am not going to let you get away with your dated reference of the marathon bar, which is a candy bar that still should be around, but I don't believe it is. Have you had a marathon bar in the last 25 years?
No.
Can you explain to our younger viewers what that is?
It was an old, I don't even remember what it was made of, but it had a bunch of caramel chewy stuff going on, and there was an old ad campaign that you couldn't eat a marathon bar quick because it took so long to chew through it.
0-2, nothing but strikes from Buehrle.
Quick Carl or quick claw.
Did it not have a ruler on the back?
It was a long, long bar.
So on our defunct candy bar pool, that would be my number one choice.
You'd like to bring that one back?
To bring back. Yeah. 1-2 on Baez.
Let's start a petition. So Buehrle, I said his fastball average is right around 84 miles an hour. That one clocked at 85. He's got a cutter, a real good changeup, a good curveball, tremendously high pitcher's IQ. Just has a real good feel for what he's doing out there. Obviously, he's been at it a good long while now. He's 197 and 151 lifetime.
3-2 on Baez. Here it comes. Ground ball, fair, inside the bag. Danny Valencia thought it was foul. Baez, the first Cub to reach second in the series. Nobody got into scoring position last night.
Top spin right down the line. Yeah, looked like it bounced over the corner of the bag.
Well, that'll bring up Jorge Soler. Got an interesting situation for Burley, including tonight. He's got basically 4 starts left. He needs to average 6 1/3 innings to get to 200 innings for what would be the 14th consecutive season. He already has the longest active 200 inning streak at 13 in a row. His manager has hinted that if he's an inning or 2 away after his final start, he might use him in relief to get him to 200. 25 innings away, 4 starts left.
And why not, right? Especially if it's, they're kind of teetering on the edge of the wild card race here. But, by the final weekend, they'll likely be out of it, so you can kind of take care of some of those personal goals. This is his 458th consecutive start without a trip to the DL.
Changeup missed. It's 2-1 on Soler. Inside, runner goes to third. Save. Sneak attack there by Baez. Valencia was late getting to the bag.
That is the first stolen base with Mark Burley on the mound this year.
That's right.
Most don't even try. And if you're going to steal off him, you got a better chance stealing third base than you do second base.
That was a delayed steal.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, with Valencia back.
So the idea there, it's not about getting the best jump. It's about surprising the defense, which he absolutely did. Soler hits it in the air, center field. Ghost makes the catch. Throw toward the plate. Way late. Sac fly, 1-0.
How about that? How about Javi Baez stealing third base? And it leads to run number 1 here. So you see he takes his lead. Shuffle, 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 and then off he goes. The infielders, they're engaged with the hitter. Their eyes are trained to watch the ball in the hitting zone. They have to be able to react and make a play. You see a good look at it here from overhead. So then it becomes a race to third base once Valencia realizes that Baez is on his way.
So they steal a run. Valbuena bounces foul to former Blue Jay and American League Rookie of the Year Eric Hinsky. Inside for a ball, 1-1. .68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius the temperature as we get started, just like last night. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Kilometers per hour, the wind 15 out of the southeast. Dropped by Lind, but Burley gets to the bag in time. I ran about 8.5 kilometers today. Yep.
Good job.
Cubs get 1. Blue Jays coming up. Big offensive night for the Blue Jays last night. 8 runs on 12 hits, including Jose Bautista's big 3-run homer. Their Southwest starting lineup looks pretty much the same. Reyes, Bautista, and Encarnacion. 2 and 3 hitters, both ranking in the top 5 of the American League in OPS. Lind at first. Navarro, the former Cub, had a big night last night. Valencia at third. Pilar, Goins, and Ghosts 7 through 9.
Cubs defensively brought to you by Kia. Chris Coughlin had a busy night last night, made a couple of very nice running plays out in left field. Matt Caesar gets his second start in center field. Jorge Soler in right. In field goes Valbuena, Baez, Alcantara, Valleca, Castillo behind the plate, and Lexus starting pitcher for the Cubs tonight, Jake Arrieta.
And his first pitch to switch hitting Jose Reyes is bounced fair. Valleca to Arrieta, nicely done. Thanks to John, who checked in on Twitter. Cadbury makes the Curly Whirly. That is the new equivalent of the old Marathon bar. I may have to check it out. Man. You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm excited.
Cadbury, the fruit and nut bar is just outstanding.
Okay. I'm hungry. 6 batters into the game. Here's Bautista. Hit his 200th homer as a Blue Jay last night. He's 0 for 10 in his career against Arrieta. Valbuena way back at third. Bautista showed bunt, but I don't think that's going to bring him in.
No, Valbuena leaned, but that was about it. He's not buying it.
Fastball, 1-1. Their bats were hot last night. A lot of solid contact. Slider strike against Jacob Turner.
Turner just made a fair number of mistakes out over the middle of the plate, and this Blue Jay lineup took full advantage. A lot of hard hit balls. Even some of the outs early on were really well struck.
Sinkers hit on the ground, which is where it's intended to be hit. And Baez makes the play. Saw Bautista before the game today, and I mentioned that we went through his whole odyssey. And then we ended the conversation on the air by saying this is old news to most people, but we haven't seen you in about 6 years. He laughed. Yeah, we used to see him a lot with the Pirates, but it's been a while.
Arrieta has allowed 2 or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts for the year. He's 8-5 with a 281. One good start after another, just a couple of bumps along the way. He's been remarkably consistent. Fastball velocity is typically 94 to 96 for Arrieta. The slider curveball combination can be deadly.
He has not had much success against the Blue Jays, but as Encarnacion singles, Bautista and Encarnacion, including that hit, are a combined 1 for 19 against him. We'll bring up Adam Lind, who grew up a Cub fan in Anderson, Indiana. It's located between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne, not too far from Muncie. And he rooted for the Cubs, but he has never been to Wrigley Field. But I've driven past it. Doesn't seem right. A big leaguer who grew up a Cub fan has never been to Wrigley. Well, and he will at some point.
Yeah, unless he gets traded, it probably won't happen for another 3 or 4 years. Yep. When we get around to playing the American League East and interleague play again.
His 2 favorite Cubs, Sean Dunston and Mark Brace.
Missed much time earlier this year with a cracked bone in his foot. Actually played with it for better than 2 weeks after injuring it, and was kind of hobbling around, and finally went and got an MRI done. So no, you got a broken bone in there. He thought it was just a bad bruise.
Going in, and he bounces foul. We don't see this team very often. First matchup since 2008. Blue Jays started up in 1977. April 7th of that year, they started play at Exhibition Stadium. Dave McKay was in the lineup, former Cub first base coach.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure when I was in college, I pitched against Dave McKay because the Blue Jays AAA club was in Syracuse, and we played an exhibition game when I was in college against Syracuse. And I think Dave was on that club then, probably 79 maybe.
And that was a big deal for him. He's from Canada, from British Columbia. Swing and a miss. Lind strikes out. More Blue Jays history as we move along tonight. 1-0 Cubs after an inning. A game at beautiful Wrigley Field. Might even be a beautiful game. Tickets in a variety of levels are available for every game during that final homestand. To purchase seats, go to Cubs.com. The game on the 20th against the Dodgers will start at 12:05. That is a Fox game. Ground ball into center off the bat of Wellington Castillo. So Saturday the 20th. A noon start. I think the Cubs are just happy they're not facing Marcus Stroman tonight. Wouldn't have mattered who's pitching.
Marcus Stroman was one of the guys that apparently the Cubs were talking about with the Blue Jays as the trade deadline neared. The Blue Jays had been on Samardzija for a good long while. Sent a lot of scouts through Chicago and various stops along the way to watch Jeff. And if you believe the rumors, the Cubs had interest in Stroman. Aaron Sanchez, who's out in the bullpen right now, throws 97 miles an hour. Drew Hutchinson, we'll see him tomorrow. His name also was out there. You can understand why the Cubs had interest in Stroman, having seen him pitch last night. Can also understand why the Blue Jays would not want to let him go.
His newly discovered two-seam fastball was pretty effective last night. "93 pitches, no walks. He's 2 over the minimum. Alt bounces to Burley. They get one, and that'll be it. Really a terrific defender.
Yeah, he's won 4 or 5 Gold Gloves. Bounces around out there. You wouldn't describe him as an extreme ground ball pitcher or a fly ball pitcher. He's just a pitcher. You know, pitch to contact guy, pitches to situations, understands what hitters are trying to do in certain counts, certain base out situations.
4 Gold Gloves. Has been an All-Star 5 times. Like Jose Reyes, he's on a deal that he signed with the Marlins and got traded here. $4 years, $58 million, so he signed through next season.
Yeah, what, $19 million I think he's due to make next year. Fun to see a guy with the his stuff have this level of success in the big leagues. Kind of like Jamie Moyer. He's never been a hard thrower. In his prime, he was probably 86, 87. As I said, now he's typically around 84 miles an hour. Softest tosser in the game, other than R.A. Dickey, and R.A. Dickey's a knuckleballer, so you really don't count him.
And he gives up a lot of hits, 2 tonight, so that's 200 allowed on the year. Bounced in the left, so everything the Cubs are hitting tonight finding a hole, unlike last night. Two on for Chris Valleca. Valleca in the air to deep right. Bautista will make the play. And 2 outs in the inning. He was already getting ready to back up third base. He's pretty smart, isn't he? Just kind of understands.
Yeah, I think
the game at a pretty high level.
Well, he just he knows what he's really good at and what he's not really good at. And again, he's not going to throw the ball by you, but he has outstanding command and he plays the game the right way.
Now we should note, as he faces Caesar, 1 ball, no strikes. Ground ball to third. I might have to note it later. Strong throw, but safe. Caesar with an infield hit. Valencia with a rather long throw, and Matt Caesar able to beat it out to keep the inning alive. Bases loaded.
Navarro's going to get Burley off the mound and go out and have a talk while they review this in the Blue Jay video room. Head down, chugging hard.
I thought he was safe, and he was. And it was Burley on the mound with that game against Tampa Bay. The Rays ended up protesting because of what they thought was a late challenge by John Gibbons. And then they dropped their protest the following day. Or actually, was it denied or did they drop it? I think they dropped it officially because they weren't going to win it. And
I don't recall.
They won the game anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, no, it was denied. It was denied. Yeah. It was like a 2-sentence thing from MLB. They didn't even explain why.
Yeah,
They just said nope. 1-0 on Coughlin. And tight. 2-0. So I should note, we're saying all these nice things about a guy who's from St. Louis, who admits that he's always hated the Cubs and pitched for the White Sox.
Well, the heck with him then. He stinks.
We kid, Mark. 1-0 Cubs early. Every week at Wrigley Field, support your Big Ten school and get a special Cubs t-shirt featuring your school colors. The first schools to face off will be Purdue and Indiana on Monday, September 15th. The Big Ten rivalry promotion only available through Cubs.com/special events. Be part of the Big Ten fun. Jake Arrieta with an early 1-0 lead. He gave up a 2-out single in the first, no runs, and now faces former teammate Dioner Navarro. Dioner 2 hits, sac fly, double, 2 RBIs, and a run in the opener. Switch batter, 1 strike. Oh, 2. Dioner saying to his former battery mate, "You're going to play me like that, huh? Okay." Thought he was going to get some hard stuff, but he got a changeup instead.
Going through the whole arsenal here and ultimately settle on changeup.
Actually, that was a changeup. I think it was a curveball that he missed the first one. Yeah.
Not the best changeup there, up in the zone, but he had Navarro in front of it just a little bit. Navarro having a nice year offensively. Does not grade out defensively all that well. A little below average in terms of throwing out base runners. Jay's happy with the work he's done, though, and they signed him to a 2-year deal to be their primary guy.
Slider, and he got a piece of it. Let's go back to the fly ball to right with 1 out in the top of this inning. Watch Mike Holt at second base. He goes almost halfway now, heading back to the bag as Bautista makes the catch. I don't think he really had to be on the bag to tag, but what the Cubs want him is moving. And I think ultimately he probably could have tagged in advance to third.
Yeah, I think with the catch being the second out and Bautista's arm, that's kind of a questionable play. But the idea is to be back there to read the ball off the bat, realize it's going to be caught, be back there on the base to tag, to be able to draw the throw. Right. If you're going to do it, textbook perfect base running.
It stands out obviously when you get the infield hit to load the bases. But yeah, I mean, you know, talking to Ricky and the coaches in that spot, a lot of times, you know, if guys are going to read it that way, they don't have to be on the bag, but you're kind of anticipating, I guess, that the catch is going to be made as it gets closer. Valencia pops it up. Arrieta will make the catch. 2 outs.
Yeah, for me, that's not a. With Batista's arm, that's not a situation where I want to. After the catch,
yeah, you can't run
that's a third out. That's a third out at third base. He's already in scoring position. The likelihood that you get an infield hit there is pretty small. Now, if it's a guy who can really scoot, it's Alcantara. Yeah, go ahead, test him.
Here's Pilar. And ball 1 low.
Contrast in styles with the finesse and the pace of Burley and the power and the patience of Arrieta.
Out in the left center, Pilar with a 2-out single.
Patience is the right term, but Jacob, a much slower paced worker than is Burley. Jays had 12 hits in the ball game last night. Everybody in their starting lineup had at least one. Pilar had a couple.
Two and 0 on Goins. As you mentioned, what a play to end the game last night. Barehanded play and a little pop up on the infield. He was playing almost behind second. Had to range far to his left. Baez hit the little pop up. It hit the turf. Goins with the bare hand, and that ended the complete game shutout for Stroman. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, it took a crazy bounce on him. Watch this thing kick back the other way. It's the barehanded play. As I mentioned at the outset, he has not made an error this year for Toronto. 183 chances coming into this game. In his career, 82 games, 335 chances, 1 error. Kind of Darwin Barney-esque.
Runner goes, and Goins fouls at the plate. Only interleague matchup currently, and other than a makeup or two since '97, the Cubs have never had a scheduled interleague series in September prior to this one. Line center field. Caesar will make the grab, and that'll end the inning. We've completed 2 at Rogers Center. It's the Cubs 1 and the Blue Jays nothing. Thursday, the White Sox wrap up their set with the A's at U.S. Cellular Field. A's and White Sox pregame coverage at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. 1-0. Cubs got a first inning tally against Mark Buehrle. And the guy who scored that run, kind of helped manufacture it, is at the plate. A double, a steal of third. And then Baez scored on the sac fly by Soler. Swing and a miss on a changeup. Javier now 13 for his last 100 with that double, with 49 strikeouts. Oh, he just got, did it hit him? Yeah, it got him in the elbow, I thought, and then it got a big piece of Navarro as well.
Buehrle does a lot of work away to right-handed hitters, has to take a shot inside every now and then to keep them honest. Cut fastball up and in and just clips the upper arm or perhaps that elbow guard for Baez.
A midsection shot on Navarro too. 12 RBIs for Soler and now 11 major league games. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss. The Blue Jays starting rotation with a streak of 15 consecutive 6-inning appearances. Pretty impressive. They got 9 last night from Stroman. Staff ERA of 2.50 in those starts since August 23rd.
Swings and misses on the changeup. The first one down below the knees, that one up in the zone, but still Soler way out in front of it. Typically against a guy like Buehrle, the thinking is think away, look away, and react in. He's not going to beat you with his fastball.
Continuing the theme of, from St. Louis, doesn't like the Cubs, pitched for the White Sox. But it's just so hard to dislike a guy who doesn't throw hard and gets results, works quickly, fields his position well. Double play ball, 4-6-3. Good dig by Lind. And the other thing about Mark Buehrle is he loves dogs. And the headlines were made when he got traded here to Toronto because the Buehrle family has a pit bull mix named Slater. When he signed his deal with Miami, pit bulls are prohibited in Miami-Dade County, so they ended up living in Broward County, which is just north of Miami-Dade. But there is a pit bull ban here in Canada, so they had a tough decision to make. And essentially the family's back home in the States while he's here in the summer. And he kind of explained it like if it were one of our kids, we wouldn't just leave our kid with some other family. So they're treating Slater like he is part of the family. And we have a pit bull mix, and he's the best dog we've ever had. So.
Well, the good news is he's well compensated. So if he wanted to, he could, his family, I'm sure, makes plenty of trips into town.
Sure. You've heard the adage, there are no bad dogs, just bad owners.
Yeah.
I believe that. I agree with it. It sounds like the Buehrles are great owners, and they have a wonderful dog, too. Now, Buena grounds out. That message brought to you by your local Humane Society. Rescue a dog. They need a home. 1-0 Cubs. Northside fan photo for a chance to have it appear in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Jake Arrieta back to work here in the third inning.
A couple of base hits for the Jays, but they came with 2 outs, one in the first, one in the second.
Anthony Gose. So one of your favorite and my favorite websites, baseballalmanac.com, and writing about the Toronto Blue Jays. Quote, there is a certain irony to a Canadian-based baseball franchise showing its American counterparts how to build a competitive major league franchise from scratch. However, that is exactly what the Blue Jays did from the moment Toronto was awarded a team in 1977. They did not do the kind of the Diamondbacks Rays formula early on, bring in a bunch of veteran guys. They went young, and they lost 209 games combined in their first 2 seasons. But then guys like Dave Stieb, Jim Clancy, Alfredo Griffin, Damaso Garcia, Lloyd Mosby, Willie Upshaw,
Ernie Witt,
Jesse Barfield. In their first winning season, 1983, their manager was Bobby Cox. Ron and Tony Fernandez, George Bell won the East in 1985. Called strike 3.
Man, that was a good changeup. Second strikeout of the night for Arrieta. He got Lynn swinging in the first. Watch the action on this pitch. There's the grip.
Yeah, good look at the grip.
This little fade back to the inside corner. Yeah, they lost 100 games plus in each of their first 3 years of existence. Finished dead last every year from 77 through 81. 81 was a strike year.
They did blow a late lead in 87, and as big a home run as Kirk Gibson hit, one of the biggest in World Series history in 88, he hit a huge home run at Exhibition Stadium for Detroit late in that regular season in 87. I think Frank Tanana pitched a complete game shutout to end the season.
Is that right?
Toronto.
So that would have been the year that the Tigers acquired Doyle Alexander for John Smoltz.
Yep.
And Alexander went 9-0 or something like that for the Tigers.
Yep. Reyes was late, 95, and some good heat. Bob Brenly caught Dave Stieb when BB finished his major league career, or toward the end of his career here in Toronto. And he says he was the best pitcher he ever caught. I mean, in terms of just stuff.
Oh yeah, he was pretty nasty, Dave Stieb. Real good slider, threw hard. 176 games in his big league career.
And how many no-hitters did he have right up until 2 outs?
He had 2 for back-to-back starts, but in close proximity where he took him into the 9th and lost them.
Actually, I have a connection. It just reminded me. As Bautista couldn't hold up, Jake Arrieta earlier this year, we know what he did. Back-to-back starts. Took no hitters late in the games. Where's that note? Yeah, he was the first pitcher to take a no-no into the 7th in consecutive starts since Dave Stieb in June of 1988. Pitch. It's a strike. 2-2. Everybody trying to figure out what the count is. Yeah, it is 2-2. They put 3-1 on the board. It was a late call by Lane.
Yeah, Jerry's he gives you that delay call every now and then back there.
Up the middle, caught by Alcantara. Pre-shifting, that would have been an easy base hit, but not anymore. Comes up at the Sheraton Chicago Hotel and Towers, January 16th through the 18th, 2015. Room blocks are now open. They can be reserved by visiting CubsConvention.com or calling 1-800-325-3535 and asking for the Cubs Convention rate. All reservations at the Sheraton in Chicago come with convention passes built into the hotel package. Castillo's 2 for 2. Leadoff single here in the fourth.
Cubs have had the leadoff man reach each of the last 3 innings now off Burley. Their thinking is, why wait? He throws a lot of strikes up there ready to swing.
Alt 5 for 12. He's coming back from Iowa. All right, I did a little research. Cubs designated hitters since 1997 when interleague play started. Have a collective OPS line and caught as Valencia left his feet and robs Alt of a hit. Nicely done by the Jays third baseman. 794 OPS collectively.
Yep.
The major league average since 1997, 783. So team that doesn't use the DH very often actually has had good production out of that very part-time position. That's it.
That's good to know.
No. Another one caught by Valencia. Stop hitting it there, I guess, is the lesson.
This one not quite as impressive as the last one, but hard contact and a quick out delivered by Burley. Do you have, so you don't have a list of who the leading DHs in Cubs history are or anything like that?
I can find it.
Don't bother.
It might be in the game notes. The franchise record for home runs by a DH, Alfonso Soriano, 6.
Like it better against left-handed pitching this year, and in his career he's been a lot better against lefties than righties. You step in there, you better be ready to go, because Burley's not going to waste a lot of time.
On the inside, the sliver of the plate, 1-2. I haven't read what John Gibbons is going to do against the Yankees. I think Burley is scheduled to face them one more time. Have you seen his numbers against the Yankees?
I saw a note. Yeah, it's not good.
1-13 with a 6.14 in 20 starts. He's lost 11 consecutive decisions against the Yankees. Ouch. Is that enough to make you think
there's something about those
do something different?
Yeah, because when you've been in the league as long as Burley has, obviously the players have changed. It can become a psychological thing, even though it's a different group of guys.
Yeah, he's supposed to pitch, I think, right in the middle of that 4-game series in New York next week. Line center field, base hit.
It's like Giovanni Gallardo in the Cardinals. No matter who's wearing those shirts, when he faces them, they wear them out.
He was there, but I think he saw Lind out of the corner of his eye. And the inning is over. Cubs strand a couple, and they lead 1-0 in the fourth. PMC Derek Rose and Team USA's quarterfinal matchup in the FIBA World Cup against Slovenia. See all that and more on Sportsnet Central. You won't see the actual matchup, you just see highlights and analysis and all that good stuff. More accolades for Chris Bryant already. The USA Today Minor League Player of the Year. Baseball America says, you're our guy as well. Our lows never stop improving. And I don't think he's done with the hardware just yet.
Is there more? Is there more out there?
There's always more. He could be the Cubs Minor League Player of the Year.
Yeah,
that's probably a shoe-in, right?
Yep. Led all of minor league baseball with 43 home runs. Had an OPS up over 1,000.
One on Encarnacion. He drills this one a deep left. And bang that one off the top of the wall for another single. He did that last night.
He's a little upset the ball didn't leave the ballpark. Yeah, it was kind of funny because we watched him go down the line last night and it looked like something was bothering him, but later on in that sequence he went first to third and was running pretty well. Doesn't look to be 100% going down the first baseline. Pretty good with that bat in his hand, though.
Lynn struck out in the first, 4 for 10 with a homer against Arrieta in his career now. Way outside on a heater at 95. We went back to the team hotel, walked back on just a gorgeous night last night. Walked through the lobby, we got on the elevator, and there was a baseball fan with a Brett Lawrie jersey on, a Blue Jays jersey, and he had a Cubs hat.
He's conflicted.
I joked that the fashion police were going to arrest him. He said, these are my two favorite teams. Can't really argue with that, I guess.
Yeah, it's never an issue, almost never an issue until these rare interleague matchups. I don't know what he's going to do if these two clubs get into the World Series. It'd be a mess.
2-0 the count. There it comes. It's a strike. Slider in. 3-1.
Yeah, Linda, a slugger. He's got big time power. Arrieta able to clip a corner with a 2-0 fastball. See what he does here on 3-1. Time to make a pitch.
Short lead by Encarnacion, and Lind fouls away.
A good pitch, 96 with movement. Off the outside.
I think there are a few fans surprised in the concourse behind third base. That ball got behind the back row of the lower deck and rattled around underneath in the concourse. Payoff delivery, and Lind fouled it off himself. That's foul. Man, if Jerry Lane needs to clean home plate, he can use Lind's beard.
Would you mind getting down on your hands and knees?
The Canadian national curling team may try to recruit him. Encarnacion runs, ball 4. You got that reference, right?
That'd be a sweeper. Oh, the little sweeper broom, yeah.
Not a good joke if I have to explain it.
I thought I was better in the Olympics, so that maybe they all wore scraggly beards in the Olympics or something.
See, the sweeping of home plate, I thought, would set up the broom kind of.
Canada curling reference.
Yeah. Guys in the booth laugh. Home plate is clean, so I should have waited. Is this on tape? Can we do this again?
We're in the bottom of the fourth end.
Navarro with 2 on. Cubs leading 1-0. Outside, ball 1 on a curve. Jake working behind in the count. And consecutive batters, 2-0.
Yeah, showing Navarro a lot of respect here, being very cautious.
He used that word against this lineup, talking about this lineup, about being cautious because they have so many guys who can do damage. See if Navarro has a green light. Yep, and he pops it up. Wow. Remember this at bat. A 3-0 pop out to third.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work out for him, but I kind of like it. I think, in the modern game, pitchers are so good with their secondary stuff and unwilling to give in. It's a one time where you really can sit dead red and be pretty sure you're going to get a fastball. If I'm the manager, every now and then I'm going to turn a guy loose. Go ahead, attack that fastball. As long as he's attacking a strike, if a guy starts to swing at pitches out of the zone, then you're going to take that freedom away from him.
Valencia with 1 out. So I want to go back to your comment in the open. I said Jake's probably more familiar with the Blue Jays than anybody on the current Cubs roster, and you said the Blue Jays might not be familiar with him because he's not the same pitcher he was with the Orioles. But then I go back to the mindset of a guy who's 3-2 with an ERA of 6 against the Blue Jays, but is a quote different pitcher now. Does he come in with a different mindset based on his success this season? I don't know the answer to that.
I would say yes, but I don't know for sure. I mean,
do you fall back to the I've been beaten up by these guys in the past?
And sometimes it's not the team, it's the venue. He's got an ERA. He's 1-2 with an ERA of 7.31 here. So a lot of times it's just that you have a bad vibe in a certain ballpark. You just don't feel right on the mound. You've had bad outings there. I think a lot of times it's that more than the players, because the players turn over a lot. Because as you mentioned, the 2 most dangerous guys in their lineup, Testa and Encarnacion, have done nothing against him.
Yeah.
Or had done nothing against him.
So Encarnacion's 2 hits tonight. I tend to believe that Jake is a much more confident pitcher no matter who he's facing. And now Castillo will head out.
Appears that Arrieta has a very definitive plan of what he wants to do here with Valencia. Kind of letting Castillo know, here's what I'm thinking, and here's why.
One-two on the way. Line and caught by Valleca. Double play. Encarnacion got caught off second. Chris Valleca helping out his pitcher. And the inning is over. After 4, 1-0 Cubs.
Big Ten rivalry week at Wiggly Field. Support your Big Ten school and receive a special Cubs t-shirt featuring your school colors. The second schools to face off will be Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's Tuesday, September 16th. The Big Ten rivalry promotion is only available through Cubs.com/special events. Be part of the Big Ten fun.
Wabbity Wascal. Rivalry week.
Rivalry week.
At Wiggly Field.
We wabbit.
Coughlin in the air to center. An easy play for Ghost. So we saw some excellent defense by the Cubs. Double play to get out of the inning. Valleca started it on the line out, but here's the opposite of that. I don't know if I've ever seen a play quite like this. The Dodgers beat the Padres 9-4. Clayton Kershaw with his 18th win. But this was a 3-error play. Puig. Uh-oh.
Yeah, fire up the Calliope.
Catcher, I think it's A.J. Ellis. Uh-oh. Hanley Ramirez to the plate. It wasn't even close.
Well, good thing Hanley was hanging out there in shallow center. I mean, he was well positioned to get the ball and then to throw.
And then it looked like Kershaw had a play here at the plate, and he didn't know where he was. Yeah. Watch him jump. Well, we'll get it in a second. Ground ball, backhanded by Reyes, sets, throws on the bounce, safe. Base hit. Baez has been on all 3 times.
Double down the line, hit by a pitch, and now 1 out infield single here. Reyes able to get this ball in the hole, but not able to finish the play. Flynn picks it. He's out.
Lind will have plenty of room to get Soler. All right, let's finish the craziness in L.A. There's the 3rd error. And then they had a play on the runner coming to the plate, but Kershaw jumps. Don't know if he
I don't think he knew where. Maybe he wasn't sure if he was in front of the plate. Didn't know where the base runner was, and the last thing he wanted to do was take a hit there. And it worked out all right for the Dodgers. They ended up winning, and Kershaw picked up his 18th win.
Bueno, runner on 2 outs.
Tommy John once made 3 errors on 1 play, pitching for the Yankees back in the 80s.
Do you remember exactly what he did?
No, I think he mishandled a bunt or a comebacker, picked it up, threw it away. Somehow the ball made its way back into the infield. He got his hands on it again and then threw it away again.
If you're going to make an error, you might as well set a record.
Yeah. Pulled up a story on it here. Tommy John said, I think there were too many negative ions in the air. I threw it to the ball boy. He got out of the way. Oh, look out.
Valbuena got hit. That was a fastball. Now, yes, granted, it's only 84 miles an hour, but it still stings.
Yeah,
and if it gets you in the wrong spot,
it looks like right wrist he's holding.
Can do some damage. Ugh. Second Cub batter hit by Burley.
Scary, but he appears to be okay as he makes his way down to first base.
And he's fine. His right hand, back of his hand, near the wrist. Thanks, Luis. He pointed right at it for us. 2 on, 2 down in a 1-run ball game here in the 5th.
So Tommy John said, yeah, I threw it to the ball boy. He got out of the way. Then I got it back and I threw it to the Brewers trainer. He tied a record set by James Bentley Seymour of the 1898 New York Giants. A pitcher making 3 errors in 1 inning.
Into the left field corner, and the Cubs add to their lead as Baez scores. Wellington Castillo's 3 for 3.
And how many pitches has he seen?
Now, he has been very aggressive here.
There. See it and hit it. Turn it loose. Second pitch of this at bat, a cut fastball trying to get in. He cut it off. Baez scores for the 2nd time tonight.
Strike called on Mike Alt. Not related to former Blue Jay Doug Alt. Different spelling, A-U-L-T. Change up low outside, 1-2. Strike 3 called to end the inning. But the Cubs add to their lead on the Castillo RBI hit, and it's now 2-0 in the fifth.
Club at Wrigley Field. Your guests will enjoy an all-inclusive top-shelf bar and gourmet food in this high-end space. Seventh-inning stretch celebrities, former Cub players will stop by. For information, contact the Premier Sales Team at 773-404-4200 or Cubs.com/suites.
Bottom three in the Blue Jays lineup, starting with Kevin Pillar. Every time I see that name, I think Kevin Millar.
No relation.
No. He singled in the second.
Oop, little mistake there.
He's 2 for 2.
Hasn't cost him on the scoreboard yet, but Arrieta has not been quite as sharp in terms of his location tonight as he has in some of his other starts.
You know what Kevin is? He is a Polar in his community.
He is. He's also a pretty good-looking young hitter. He had a 50-game hitting streak in college.
Yeah.
Division II school out in California, Cal State Dominguez Hills. Been a good minor league hitter, really good at Buffalo this year.
You cannot utter the name of that forsaken NFL city. Not this week.
Oh, yeah, Buffalo.
No, he said it again. I can say it after next week.
I thought John Bon Jovi was trying to buy the Bills.
And you're right.
There was some talk of him possibly moving the team to Toronto. I think that dream has faded up here.
Living on a prayer, maybe?
Yeah.
Runner goes out. Castillo does it again. Man, has he been good lately with throwing out base stealers. And he needed a perfect throw to get him.
Lightning quick feet. Quick release. Having himself a night, isn't he? Swinging it well, and now the caught stealing. Boom, tag applied to the head before Pillar can get to second base. Three knocks, caught stealing, catching a shutout so far. That's a pretty good night.
Yeah, and that one kind of begged for the blowing on the index finger and putting it back in the holster, but it's probably a good idea not to do that. 2-0 on Ryan Goins. Arrieta's 2-1. Out of the left center to Gapper. Coghlan will cut it off. Goins around first, on his way to second. Throw there. He is saved by a bang play. It's a double for now. Here comes Ricky.
The way the ball bounces on the turf here, you have to take a little more of a passive route in the outfield to make sure you cut the ball off. You can't go directly to that ball. Coghlan did a heck of a job running it down, then getting off a pretty strong throw, but evasive action taken by Goins at second base, and it looked like he was safe.
Yeah, he did not, I don't think, tag him until his hand got in. If he got that right arm, he's out, but I don't think he did. And no challenge.
He's in there. Good call. I don't know that Arizmendi ever did apply the tag there at the last, but he's able to hang on. So if you go back to last inning, single walk, line out, double play, base hit, and double here. And caught stealing, the line out double play really helping Arrieta's cause, but the Jays getting some pretty good whacks at him here.
By the way, Castillo has now nailed 10 of the last 12 attempting base stealers. Ghost got a piece of it. It's foul. And Jerry Lane will send Goins back to second. John Gibbons wondering if contact was made with the bat.
Couldn't see it.
Oh, you know what? Did it hit him? Oh, okay. Hit his foot. He did not make contact with a bat, but he said he offered at it, which it looked like he did. So it's a strike. Dead ball. Good look. His foot was on home plate, didn't it?
I don't know, and I don't know if that's what Jerry Lane ultimately called or not. I didn't see him signal hit his foot, a dead ball. I think Jerry thought it was a foul ball.
We can keep it rolling here. Yeah, he just raised his arm, so I think, yeah, he called it a foul. But the result
the end
is
result would have been the same, yeah.
The 0-2 from Arrieta. He bunts. Foul for a strikeout. Huh. Okay. Not sure I understand that one.
Well, I haven't seen this kid play. I know he's got a speed guy. Obviously, you have to be a very adept bunter to have confidence to bunt with 2 strikes. I know if it was 1 out in the inning, I think John Gibbons would prefer him to try to swing the bat, try to drive that run in.
Yeah, it looked like they had a brief one-way conversation there. I don't know if Gibbons said, "I'm cool with what you did," or swing the bat with 2 strikes.
Well, a lot of times the conversation is swing the bat with a man in scoring position. Don't leave it up to the next guy to drive him in. I do, in certain circumstances, certain situations, like the 2-strike bunt. I think it's a gutsy play, and if you look at the numbers, if you look at batting averages in certain counts, 0-2, 1-2, what guys typically hit in those situations, pretty darn small. So if you got a third baseman back and you're a good bunter, get yourself a knock that way. For me, it's better, just trying to get something started in an inning now with a man in scoring position.
And I also think in the case of what we just saw, Reyes just got a piece of it. It was 0-2 or 1-2, right? So what are the odds that you're going to get a good pitch to bunt?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
By definition, with 2 strikes, you're up against it. But if it's 3-2, probably a better chance of seeing something near the strike zone.
And again, not knowing the player that well, just looking at some numbers today. Brett Butler one year had 42 bunt hits in a season, and he would bunt with 2 strikes. And you get the, if the guy's a good bunter, you get the infielder to back off. But for me, it's not a good play with a man in scoring position.
Reyes held on his swing.
Ice cream's a popular treat for those that group of guys behind home plate. 6 in a row pounding an ice cream cone down there. Look at that. It's like they want to bet or something. Cones for everybody.
I guess they get free ice cream down there in those seats. Well, if I got free ice cream, that's all I would do all night.
Well, they did a study when asked, 8 out of 10 Canadians would choose the cone over the ice cream sandwich.
Bounces past on a wild pitch.
Big breaking ball looking for the swing and miss. Didn't get a swing, and he missed Wellington.
Boy, look how much that ball moved.
He gets tremendous movement. That previous one, the slider up in on the hands, a heck of a pitch. Tough to be quick enough to go out and knock that one down. Have to hear though, man on third now. Be very careful back there.
Feathered into center. Caesar charging in, and he's going to have to play the hop. And Reyes puts the Blue Jays on the board. It's now 2-1. A really good at bat by Reyes.
Yeah, sure was. And he's obviously a threat to steal. 26 steals this year for Reyes. He's only been caught a couple of times. Good battle. Ultimately, Reyes wins it. Not that he made great contact, but he stayed alive long enough, put it in play, and found a soft spot in the defense out there in shallow center. Caesar got a nice break on it. But on this turf, sometimes you're forced to pull up a little sooner than you would otherwise. For fear that ball bouncing by and going all the way to the wall.
Career hit number 1,748 for Reyes. 31 years old. Made his debut in 2003 as a Met. Dangerous. 1-0 to Bautista's up and in. 8 homers in his last dozen games. Bautista last night with his 200th as a Blue Jay.
And Bautista and Encarnacion both, I think, are real good breaking ball hitters.
Throws it away. Reyes toward third. Two-base error on the pickoff attempt.
Not yet measured his lead, and actually it was a good time to go over because he was out on his front foot a little bit. He's not running well either.
Meantime, 2-0 on Bautista. You don't just want to give him first base with Encarnacion on deck. You want to make a pitch here and a high fly to right. Bautista slams his bat down as he makes it out to end the inning. Blue Jays settle for one. It's 2-1 Cubs after 5. Will host the Dodgers at 1:20 in the first 10,000 in attendance. Get a Cubs travel blanket presented by United Airlines. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Alcantara bunts. Burley spins and gets him.
Get that out towards second base. You might have a base hit. Speaking of second base, there's the Hall of Famer, Robbie Alomar.
Yeah, only former Blue Jay to have his number retired. Hanging with Cito Gaston and company in Blue Jays executive box. Strike called on Valleca. Key defensive play as the Blue Jays were threatening in the fourth inning. Double play, line out 3-6.
And it came right after Arrieta and Castillo had a meeting out there in the mound talking about how they're going to try to finish the hitter off. I doubt that's what they had in mind.
Reyes will glove. Well, let's take a look.
Here's what I'm thinking, Welly. I think we're going to induce a rocket to first base.
First, you had the 3-0 pop up. That was the first out, and then the line out. What an escape job!
Yeah, talk about inducing a double play. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky, and if you're a little of both, you're going to have a really nice night.
Okay, apparently there's some sort of clarification to the catcher blocking the plate rule.
Yeah. So they're sending out an email to all the clubs. They want to make sure they have that tightened up heading into the postseason.
Well, what it looks like to me is they're deciding that you can block the plate without the ball, but you can't impede the runner. So I think it's if the runner is 25 feet away, like the Mathis play, the Marlins.
Yeah, I think they're telling the umpires, let's use some common sense here. Don't rule that the catcher's in the path when the base runner has just turned third base. You know, it's one thing if there's an imminent play at home plate and you're not giving him a path, but to judge that you have not given him a path when he's only a third of the way down the third baseline doesn't make any sense.
Burley tried to knock it down. He couldn't. Neither could Goins, and Caesar's got a 2-out hit. So then the question is, what if it's 7 feet?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Is this 2 steps enough? 4 steps?
Well, I think I don't know. I haven't seen this email yet, but I think the rule still is going to be you can't block home plate without the ball. But I think the umpires are going to have a little judgment where they can say, yes, he was blocking the runner at some point in this sequence. He was not providing a lane for the runner, but that was when the runner was not close to home plate yet.
Shallow left, and it'll drop, as you just mentioned. On this turf, outfielders have to play with a little bit of caution. And you saw Pilar pull up on a ball that he might not have had we been playing on grass.
Yeah, especially on a ball like that when there's nobody there to back you up. And the big high hop off the turf changes the math a little bit for the outfielders.
All right, I just pulled up Jason Stark, ESPN.com. Said ESPN obtained a copy of Torre's memorandum. Pete Walker, the pitching coach. It firmly instructs umpires not to call a runner safe even if the catcher has blocked the plate without the ball if there's no evidence that the catcher has hindered or impeded the runner's path to home plate. Takes effect immediately. Primarily, the clarification was to send a reminder to umpires that while the intent was to protect catchers, the wording was not intended to be interpreted so strictly that it would allow runners to be called safe on a technicality if the throw had beaten them to the plate by a substantial margin. This portion of Rule 713 is a judgment call, but the judgment goes beyond establishing whether the catcher is blocking the plate without the ball. So even if they decide, the umpire or the replay official, that the catcher has blocked the plate improperly, he must also determine whether the catcher hindered or impeded the progress of the runner attempting to score. Baez with a big cut and miss. Does that clarify it for you?
I get that, yes.
Okay.
I like the idea that they introduced this element of the judgment part of it for the umpire that gives them some wiggle room. So they don't have to look at replay and go, but you know what? He was blocking home plate, and even though the guy was 40 feet away, we got to score him.
1-2 to Baez. 2 on, 2 down, and a 1-run lead here in the 6th. Torre also hinted that MLB believes managers have been appealing too many plays and delaying games unnecessarily. That's according to Jason Stark's piece. I will tweet a link if you'd like to read further. Baez did not like that strike 3 call by Jerry Lane. And a little discussion to end this here.
Yeah,
Ricky
Baez thought it was all high, and Jerry said, no, that ball's not high.
Some interference here. We'll take one last look as we go to break. 2-1 Cubs. Bottom 6. It's 2-1 Cubs. Pitchers duel here. Arrieta and Burley contrasting styles. Righty lefty. One hard thrower against a soft tosser. 3-4-5 for the home team.
Arrieta deliberate. Burley pitching like he's double parked.
Well, this uniform has treated Encarnacion and Jose Bautista very well, and they have treated the fans here quite nicely too.
The exchange rate has really been good for these guys, moving from the States here to Toronto, especially in the case of Bautista.
Well, they got him for a catcher at very little big league time, Robinson Diaz. In the case of Encarnacion, the Reds got Scott Rowland in return, and ultimately became a good deal for them too. And now they have Todd Frazier. Encarnacion, as you can hear, no, no, no.
Yes,
no.
yes, yes, my friend.
About 10 no's.
Well, let's take a look at our pitch tracks.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
Good placed.
Well, that is a great pitch. I say no to your no, Edwin.
Well, you don't want it to be a strike because it's so hard to hit, but it's a good pitch. Review the video. Hitters will look at that and they'll say, I don't care what that Fox says. I don't care what that replay said. That ball is not a strike. That probably was a strike.
And you want to grow up to be an umpire. Ooh, that put a dent in that sign. Put a hole in that sign. It's not very fit right now, is it?
Wow. Need to get a big long piece of Scotch tape. Patch that baby
I
up.
think that's going to fix it.
Whoop, cross up.
Yeah, and it looked like a pretty good pitch.
My bad. Jake Crow, yeah. Jake. Interesting, nobody on base.
That's a strike. Looked like it was right at the knees, but it's hard to get a call.
And has struck out and walked tonight. He's seen a lot of pitches.
Slider in. 3-2. Tigers leading the Royals again, 3-1, bottom 5. That's a big one in Detroit. A win tonight, and the Tigers would jump into a first place tie in the AL Central. Oh, right back to Arrieta. Navarro with 2 outs, nobody out.
Well, Arrieta worked pretty hard there in the 5th. Had a couple base runners in the 4th, so he could use a 1-2-3 inning here. Pirates have won 4 in a row. They're in Philadelphia. They're tied tonight, 3-3, bottom of the 6th. Getting some help from the Reds. They lead St. Louis 7-1. Brewers and Marlins still early, bottom of the 2nd, scoreless in Milwaukee.
Matt Garza pitching for the Crew.
The Reeling Crew, just 1 win in their last 10 tries. Giants, who lead the wild card race, host the Diamondbacks later on. Atlanta's been scuffling. They're a game and a half behind Pittsburgh for the 2nd wild card spot. And they are trailing at Washington 6-2, top of the 6th.
J.D. Martinez just hit his 20th homer. 4-1 Detroit. He's hitting over 300. Slugging .546. What a year he's had. In Navarro's hands. Full count, 3-2. Did you see it in Houston?
Well, when he first came up, he hit really well, and then he kind of went in the tank a little bit. He had a funky approach. I don't know if he's changed it. But yeah, he's a kid. He always hit in the minor leagues.
On the ground, right to Valbuena at 3rd. A real nice hop on that carpet. 2-1 Cubs as we head to the 7th. and the Blue Jays wrapping up this interleague set. Final game against the American League for the Cubs here in 2014. 6 o'clock Central here on the Comcast Sportsnet. Drew Hutchison for the Blue Jays. It'll be Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. Two-one here in the seventh, and a strike on Jorge Soler. There are some good Cub connections to Canada and Ontario in particular. Soler bounces out. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins is from Ontario. And then you see some notable Canadian-born big leaguers. Not all of them by any stretch. Justin Morneau, Western Canada. Joey Votto's from here in Toronto. Larry Walker, BC. Jason Bay as well. Ryan Dempster.
Terry Poole.
I referred to Brett Laurie from Langley, British Columbia. He's on the Blue Jays disabled list.
Done for the year. Oblique.
Valbuena skies to left. Matt Stairs, a former Cub from St. John, New Brunswick. Neil Ramirez is from Virginia. Interesting. I want to ask Chris Bosio. He had a long conversation with the head groundskeeper before the game. I mean, like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know if there's some issue with the bullpen mound or the dirt or whatever, but it was a friendly convo. But I found it interesting. They were standing out near first base for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an issue with the game mound, the bullpen mound.
Maybe they have mutual friends. I don't know. Castillo bounces one to Valencia, and for the first time tonight they're going to retire the Cubs catcher. He's 3 for 4, and we will stretch here in the seventh. 2-1 Cubs. Time for our AT&T fan photo. Oh man, are those cupcakes?
It's like somebody's having a birthday party.
Oh yeah. Brought to you by AT&T. Getting a workout in.
Yeah. Sliding that beer from one hand to the next while he keeps the stretch going. Now he's going to integrate the beer drinking into the whole program. Didn't take the seventh inning stretch here literally.
see Scarlett Johansson has a new job. Did you see little Scarlett Johansson?
I
there?
did, yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Well, she might have been
Maybe
in town
for the big film festival.
The Toronto International Film Festival, TIFF.
Yep,
as they call it.
She might be making a documentary
about being
a Blue Jay cheerleader or whatever they call them.
That's a fair ball, and Valencia will be an easy out. He didn't run very hard. Comes Pilar, Kevin Pilar, 2 for 2, and caught stealing in the 5th.
Quick out here in the 7th after a 1-2-3-6 for Arrieta. Neil Ramirez was up and continues to work out there in the pen. This will likely be the last inning for Jake.
So here's the question. Does a guy like Pilar, as he comes up for his next at bat, 2 innings later, look at Welly and go, hey, that was a nice throw, man? You only do that if you know your friends or something?
No, I think some guys might. He's new to the league. He probably just comes up and hits, doesn't have a whole lot to say.
Pilar stands way off the plate. Anthony Rizzo could fit in between him and the plate. Ground ball, base hit.
3-hit night for Pilar. Last night.
It's going to be Colby Rasmus to pinch hit for Goins. No longer their everyday center fielder. And that will be it for Arrieta. Neil Ramirez will enter when we come back. Right now, bullpen will have to get it done. 6 1/3, 99 pitches. Really good tonight, especially against a team that put up an 8 spot last night. So Ramirez will take his final warm-up tosses here. Colby Rasmus, interesting story. He will be a free agent after the season. He had been their main starter and center. The Jays decided they wanted to take a look at Anthony Gose and Kevin Pillar. Now with Cabrera out for the year, Melky Cabrera, both Gose and Pillar have been in their lineup. They could end up as a platoon in center next season. Rasmus came off the bench and hit a game-winning home run in the 10th last week in Mark Burley's previous start. Three pinch hits this year. They've all left the ballpark.
Yeah, including his last two pinch hits have been home runs. That's kind of always been the story with Rasmus. Not a real good hitter. You see the low batting average, but a dangerous hitter because of the power. He swings and misses a whole bunch. So obviously it looks like the Blue Jays have decided to move on from Colby Rasmus, as he will become a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's a lot. 3 pinch hit home runs. That's a lot for an American League hitter. You get nearly as many chances as you would in the National League. Munenori Kawasaki is on deck for Gose. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, he's had 8 pinch hit at bats. And 3 home runs in those 8 ABs. That's pretty impressive.
The very playful Kawasaki is on deck. It's fun to watch during BP. We'll flip the ball to a young fan after BP, and he enjoys his job. Outside, it's 1-1. Pillar at first. The kick, the pitch, line into left. So Rasmus doesn't hit it out of the ballpark, but he does reach base. 2 on, and the tying run now at second.
Playing a strong pull shift for him on the infield. It looked like he was trying to hit the ball in that direction. Earlier this year, he bunted against the Rangers. Colby Lewis against the shift for a base hit, and Lewis got upset. Popped off a little bit. This time it's a line drive single for Rasmus. Tying run in scoring position. Go ahead run on first base.
The pinch hitter. Chokes up a little bit on the bat. And the pitch is outside. So this is last night. Playing some music between innings.
And Kawasaki.
They say it's a kid's game, and I feel like he embraces that in the best possible way. 97 from Ramirez, but it missed. 2-0.
Yeah, you got to have those guys on the club to keep it light. I guess you can tell how popular he is. The fans very upset that there was a strike called on him.
A little bit outside, 3-1. Reyes on deck. Back-to-back singles. Pilar off Arrieta. Rasmus against Ramirez. And the bases are loaded.
Last two fastballs could have been, but Ramirez didn't get the call on either one. One deemed to be a little bit outside, that one a little high on Kawasaki.
Here's Chris Bosio. Really slowing down here in the 7th.
And on third base, Pilar belongs to Arrieta. He could still win this game. He cannot lose it.
Ramirez's inning. Quiet the bullpen. A very busy AT&T U-verse multi-view. Bases packed. Last three have reached. Pilar at third. Rasmus at second. Kawasaki at first. So at this point, John Gibbons pulling of strings here with the two pinch hitters paying off. They've both gotten on. Now Reyes outside, ball one.
Now Bueno off the line, pretty much even with the bag. Middle infielders play for two. Not easy with Reyes the hitter with his speed, especially from the left side.
One and two.
Giddy up on that one.
Hard not to think about who's on deck, but the chore here is to get Reyes. Here it comes. 2-2. Reyes was just trying to make any sort of contact and stay in the at bat, maybe foul it off, but he couldn't find it. Two down.
Kind of spread out, trying to use his hands, but he chased a bad ball. Pitch up, well off the plate. Big strikeout for Ramirez. Goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway.
Bautista Bases loaded, 2 outs. You got to make a pitch normally to get him out.
Got an active 12-game hitting streak, batting .347 with 8 home runs over these 12 ball games.
He has been on base more times than any American League player this year.
Good pitch.
So you add on base skills to 32 home runs, and you've got an elite major league player.
A real good outfielder too.
Yep. Swing and a miss. Not a huge crowd, but making some noise here at Rogers Center. Big spot. A 1-2 from Ramirez bounced, and Castillo's had one of his better games of the year all around. 3 hits, a caught stealing, and a good block there. They're all good when there's a runner at third.
He just wants to make sure he doesn't make a mistake with that slider and spikes it well out in front of home plate. Just to show me, I think he's going to try to beat him with another fastball.
Like to be able to make your best pitch right here, not run it full. 2-2, and it is full. Any base hit to the outfield now, and the Cubs will be trailing. Everybody will be moving here with action.
Bautista showing very good discipline laying off that last high fastball. That's a chase pitch for a lot of guys.
The 3-2 on the way. Left field corner. Fair. They're going to get 2. They're going to get 3. Jose Bautista with a 3-run double. And he's got 95 knocked in on the year now.
Pretty remarkable bat there. He gets the head out in front of that low fastball from Ramirez. I imagine Neil would say that he's trying to get in on him a little bit more. I think if he gets it up and in, he could tie him up. But down a little bit. Bautista able to drop the head on it.
Ramirez just got beat by a great hitter. And a big spot for the Blue Jays. They have very little margin for error. They're trying to chase a playoff spot in the American League. Breaking ball to Encarnacion, misses in on a slider. Bautista's had 2 big hits in this series, JD, and both knocked in 3. The home run last night, this time a double. And in both cases, I thought both balls were going to go foul, but again, you know, the Albert Pujolses of the world, Jose Bautistas, they're able to keep those fair, you know, and that's a skill.
Swing path.
So now the Cubs are down for the first time tonight. Bautista came in having homered in his last 6 home games. So that streak may end tonight, but I don't think he cares. He just gave the Blue Jays a 2-run advantage. Now back our way. I don't want to get on a rant on the idea of a clutch hitter. I think you and I agree. It's not a term we would use. He's just a really good hitter. Yeah. But I guess what it says is, there are guys like Bautista who are the elite of the elite. They don't let the big situation get to them. Yeah, they can maintain. They can stay at a high level. Yeah, regardless of the situation. Some guys press a little bit under duress. Chase bad balls, and that's one of the keys to that whole at bat was laying off that previous high fastball. Like I said, that's a chase pitch for a lot of guys. He laid off of it and then got a pitch he could handle. And he was a 192 career hitter with the bases loaded before that double. So as good as he is, it's not a spot he had thrived in before that big hit. There's a drive to deep center, but it'll be caught by Caesar to finally end it. Bautista's knocked in 6 here in the first 2 games. It's 4-2 Toronto. With the pinch hit single, he's now in center. The guy we've heard quite a bit about, Aaron Sanchez. He is a flame-throwing right-hander. Yeah, you look at his numbers with the Toronto club here in 17 games, a 1.46 ERA. Just about a strikeout an inning. He's walked only 4 in those 24 2/3. Average fastball 97 miles an hour. There's a curveball and a changeup as well. He projects as a guy that will be in their rotation going forward, but right now using him in the bullpen. Well, the Cubs have 6 outs left, and they're trailing by a pair now. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mike Olt. 6'4", 200 pounds. Out of Barstow, California. Aaron Sanchez. Yeah, late life on that running fastball. Away from the barrel, in on the hands of Mike Olt. He had not pitched above Class A ball prior to this season. This year, AA, AAA, and now the big leagues. Well, that is about as much movement on a pitch you will see at that velocity. You get up over 97, and there's not enough time before it hits the glove to have that much movement. 3-2.
Looks like Brian Schlitter will be next for the Cubs.
Did he go? He did. Yeah, and it sounds counterintuitive. And there are a lot of guys who throw really hard, like Aroldis Chapman, who've had great success. There are other guys in the history of this game, the last decade or so, 98, 99, and they haven't had a ton of success here. And I think part of the reason, JD, is their fastball ends up being straight and hittable because guys can hit velocity if they know where it's going to go.
Yeah, if you don't have some deception or movement, then you've got to really locate. And
this guy's got all of it.
Yeah. And he obviously has a lot of confidence, and he throws that fastball 85% of the time.
Contour broke his bat as he bounced right back to Sanchez.
You can just beat people in the strike zone when you throw 96 with that kind of movement. You don't really have to trick anybody or set anybody up. Keep it down, let it run, and good luck, boys.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to find out kind of who the Cubs might have been interested in any sort of Jeff Samardzija talks. We've seen a couple of those kids already. Man, Stroman last night, Sanchez here tonight. I think there are a lot of teams who would love to have arms like this. So Burley went 7. He can get the win. He gave up 10 hits, but only 2 runs.
Fairly typical Burley outing, isn't it? Bunch of hits, limit the damage, put you out of a couple of jams. Don't walk people. Two or fewer walks for Burley in 23 of his 28 starts to 29 starts now this year.
Another one on the ground. And the Cubs go 1-2-3. Don't hit one out of the infield against the young right-hander. The Cubs take on the Dodgers. Please note the game time, 12:05 p.m. 12:05 first pitch. The first 10,000 in attendance get a Cubs tumbler presented by Pepsi. For tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Ryan Schlitter on for the 56th time. A couple of wins, 3 losses, a .333 earned run average. Pitch to contact guy with a sinking fastball. So just 27 strikeouts and 51 in the 3rd inning. But you know, his fastball last time out against the Pirates 3 or 4 days ago was really crisp. He was throwing hard. Not quite and Sanchez hard, but you know, 93, 94, and kind of at 95 perhaps a couple of times.
Lost that job. He's on a full-time basis. There's a 1-1 to Lynn. The line, center field. Caesar lays out. Uh-oh, gets behind him. Coughlin backing it up. Lynn around second, on his way to third. Anybody with speed, that's an inside to Parker. As it is, it's a triple. As we were saying earlier.
Yeah, it's a risk-reward thing, and you know, sometimes you just got to try to make a play, and that's what Matt Caesar tried to do. Down a couple runs late in the ball game. Not a bad time to gamble. It just didn't work out for him. That's everything to the bounce. Not only if it gets by you, it's going to go a long way. It's tougher to control on grass. Maybe he knocks his ball down.
Yeah, the story on Casey Janssen, and pinch runner now for Lind, is Steve Tollison. Janssen had a 1.23 ERA with 14 saves in the first half. His ERA in the second half is 8. And I think he wishes he had a do-over during the break. He and his fiance went to the Dominican, where he came down with a nasty case of food poisoning. He lost 10 pounds, missed a couple games, struggled in his return. But as we saw, they've got some options.
Yeah.
Late ball games with guys like Sanchez. 2-0 on Navarro.
You see that a fair bit in baseball. You know, ride the hot hand early. Guy gets a lot of appearances. Starts to break down a little bit. Now, obviously, extenuating circumstances with Janssen and his trip to the Dominican Republic and food poisoning. But you see it a lot of times with relievers. It's just tough to be on top of your game for 6 months. And you're good early, they call your number a lot. He was swinging 3-0 earlier.
Takes a strike this time, 3-1. Infield in. Base hit. 5-2. Third RBI of the series for Navarro. Lind can just kick his feet up now. After being lifted for the pinch runner. Tollison now in back-to-back nights has a pinch run and scored for Lind. You're not going to drop. I'll take Paul Lind for the block.
Paul Lind to block, no.
Well, here it would be Adam Lind to block on these Saskatoon squares. Valencia bounces foul.
Well, he's got a rogue seed there. We could tighten that up a little bit. Well, since saving that, there's another bag of them just there to your left.
You know, the Canadian Olympic curling. Never mind.
Al Hackner. He was my favorite curler of all time.
Miss. 1 and 2. I don't know how much our audience likes it, but the guys in the booth are loving
it. Any kind of a curling reference? Al Hackner, he was the man. So Brian's MO, it's a lot like Sanchez. He doesn't really need to trick people. I mean, if he had a slider that was a little more effective, he could use it, but he just doesn't get a lot of chases with it. He gets such good movement on his fastball. He can lean heavily on that pitch. Maybe add a cutter. That might be a good little weapon for him. Get something going away from the right-handed hitters.
Most guys have one now. Brian might need a hair cutter at some point too. Shot over Coughlin. One off the barrier. And it's a double.
And they've hit a lot of balls hard in this series.
Yeah, they didn't much early tonight, but they have here late. Last 2 innings in particular. Pilar 3 times up, 3 singles. Caught stealing in the 5th, scored a run in the 7th. That tied the game. On that Bautista double, they took the lead.
Cubs pulled the infield about halfway in. I think with Navarro running at third base, you could even keep your middle infielders back a little bit. He doesn't run well. The ball's going to get on you in a hurry. And with nobody out, he's not going to be going on contact.
If this thing gets broken wide open, it'll be Aaron Loop. Good sinker. Foul tip, strike 3. That's the first out.
Schlitter, as we noted, is not a real strikeout pitcher, but he got a big one there when he needed it. So he'll probably walk Rasmussen and play for 2.
Ball 3. And ball 4. Let's see some of Munenori Kawasaki's greatest hits.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Thank you very much. My name is Munenori Kawasaki. I'm from Japan. I'm Japanese.
I can't follow that. I'm out of here. You have some notes here.
Yeah.
And what do you have written in your book so far?
My teammate gave me an opportunity, so I wanted to do something about it.
I love how he just grabbed the microphone. Mark DeRosa said, "I'm out." Can't top that. Strike called on the outside.
At over 1,300 hits in Japan, a lifetime 294 hitter there.
Ground ball in the right. They're going to get 2 more. 7-2. Back-to-back 3-run innings, turning a Cubs 2-1 lead into a 7-2 deficit. And we're going to see some more action in the Cubs bullpen now. And Schlitter tries to find a way out of this inning. First and third, Reyes.
Figured as we got into the middle innings, the Cubs would likely have to score again to win this game, but I didn't think they'd have to score 6. Big crooked numbers here by the Blue Jays late.
Baleka to second, and he threw it away. Rasmussen, 8-2. Thought he might throw home. That was
He wasn't going to get 2 there.
No, that was an impossible turn.
Now he hit the runner at top. He's got no angle to hit his throw to second base.
Kawasaki in that home back of the head. Reyes gets an RBI on the fielder's choice. The error on Valleca.
And then, Chris does not have a lot of experience playing first base. He's made some very nice plays over there. Where he has struggled is sometimes just the decision making, some of the nuanced plays of being a first baseman, where to go with the ball, some of the footwork issues, things of that nature.
Bautista with the go-ahead bases clearing double on the 3-2 from Ramirez in the 7th. And he takes a strike.
If you're going to go in, you got to get it up.
Last night is 200th with Toronto. 2 behind George Bell, 3 back of Joe Carter. So has a very good shot at finishing the year 3rd on that list. The way he's been going lately, he might end up in 2nd. Can he hit 24 home runs in the next 18 games? Man. 2 strikes on him. By the way, they say the ball carries better when the roof is closed. It's been open the first 2 nights.
Well, chance of rain tomorrow. We might be buttoned up for that game.
30% chance of rain tomorrow. Bounce to third, Valbuena. Alcantara, Valleca can't handle it. Another run in. 9-2. Won't be an error there. That'll be it for Slitter. Blue Jays have sent 8 to the plate. And the inning continues as Blake Parker will enter. MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Join live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Get it back for your smartphone or tablet on the App Store or visit MLB.com.
See if Blake Parker can finish the Blue Jays off here in the 8th. Encarnacion will bat. He'll be the 9th man to bat for Toronto here in this inning. Blake has worked 12 times for the Cubs. He's 1-1 with a .675 earned run average.
Seventeen runs for the Blue Jays in this series. 8 have come here in the last 2 innings. Sharply hit grounder, past Valbuena. Encarnacion with an extra base hit. Bautista's going to be held as they call off the Dogs here with a big lead. Luis Rivera at third base put up the stop sign with a 7-run lead.
Encarnacion just continues to punish the ball. That's his 3rd hit tonight. Hanging line drives off the left field wall. This time he smacks one by Valbuena on the ground.
Dalton Pompey will pinch run. This is his 4th game. He does not have a plate appearance yet. It's foul. That's a foul ball. One strike on Tollefson. So this is interesting, isn't it? He pinch ran for Lind. He's not a pinch hitter. He doesn't have a position for this plate appearance. You see it when teams bat around like this. What do we call him?
Just a pinch runner who's getting an at bat.
In the air, Soler in right center. Finally, it's over. The inning would seemingly never end. 10 batters, 5 runs, 9-2 Blue Jays. Sports presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Get the recap of tonight's game and all the action around the league. Don't miss Cubs postgame live tonight, right after the game on Comcast Sportsnet. It's left-hander Daniel Norris in a non-save situation. He made his big league debut the other night in Boston with a 4-3 lead, and he struck out David Ortiz, only batter he's faced in the big leagues. Got him on a 3-2 pitch.
Yeah. Pretty sterling numbers down in the minor leagues this year. 12-2 with a 253. Started the year A-ball. 6-0 there with a .122 ERA. Moved up to Double-A, made 8 starts there, and then on to Triple-A where he was 3-1 with a good earned run average.
Norris said it was the first 3-2 curveball he's thrown all year, but he didn't want to shake off Navarro. Fastball strike on Matt Caesar. One and one.
21 years of age, Norris, from Johnson City, Tennessee.
I failed to mention Pompey, the pinch runner. He's from Mississauga, Ontario.
Oh yeah,
yeah, local kid. Obviously, we don't come here a lot, but I'd have to believe, and we saw a lot of Brett Laurie jerseys walking around the ballpark last night. And every team's fan base, they like local kids, guys from that area. But I would imagine here they take a lot of particular pride just because it's the only Canadian team in the big leagues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Caesar lines out. Here's Coughlin. Cubs staring at what would be their 5th consecutive loss, coming on the heels of their sweep over the Milwaukee Brewers. It would be the Blue Jays' 3rd straight win. So they'll do some scoreboard watching. Seattle hosting Houston later tonight. Cleveland trailing Minnesota 4-3 in the top of the 9th. The Yankees are down 4-3 at home against Tampa Bay, so the Jays could jump ahead of both the Yankees and the Indians tonight. So those are very significant games in terms of the Blue Jays, because not only are they 5 back of Seattle, but they're tied with New York, trailing Cleveland, trailing Detroit. Tigers 4-2 over Kansas City, but if Detroit wins, the Tigers and the Royals are tied for 1st in the AL Central. Cut off by Tollison, now playing 3rd. Now he's got a position.
I haven't looked at those. I don't take a look at the standings here, and they usually put the playoff percentage. It's pretty bleak if you're Toronto. But, all you can do is just keep playing and hope you go on a heck of a run and hope you get a lot of help. The guys ahead of you stumble in a big way. 2.3% chance of making the postseason.
Well, in some strange way, they almost hope Seattle kind of maintains a little bit compared to some of the other teams, because they've got them for 4 in the last week. So if you're within striking distance, you can make up a lot of ground at the very end.
And the really intriguing team right now is Oakland.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of in this free fall here.
Yeah, they're the
best team in baseball for most of the year.
Leading tonight 4-0 in the 6th at the White Sox. 2-0 on Baez.
A's have won 8 of their last 27 ball games, and they've lost 12 games in the standings to the Angels, from 4 up to 8 down.
Baez takes a walk, so he has been on now 4 times tonight.
Double down the third base line, hit by a pitch, single to short, and now works the walk here. He struck out last time, but that's a good night for Baez.
Real good night for a guy who needed one.
Something to build on.
Let's see if Soler can get a hold of one here. Normally you're just thinking, just get on base. You're down a bunch, but you're down 7 with 2 outs in the ninth. So the odds of Cubs coming back are pretty slim.
Yeah.
I have no problem with him just saying, I'm gonna try to hit one in the hotel.
Well, and that's the message he would have gotten from the dugout too, leaving, not so much hit one in the hotel, but hey, go ahead and swing it. Don't be thinking that you have to take pitches, try to work a count. Just go have a normal at bat here.
Two and two. Kick the pitch. Bounce to third. Tollison. And it gets by Valencia. So the Cubs still alive. It'll be an infield hit for Soler.
Roll over, but he thinks maybe he can get a knock out of it, so head down, chugging hard down the line. Bad throw, no pick, gets a base hit.
Soler's hit in 10 of his first 11 big league games with that infield single. 1-0 on Valbuena. We'll call him a former spring training Blue Jay. Spent one off season and all of spring training with the Jays 2 years ago before the Cubs got him on waivers. One and two to count. swing and a miss. And the Blue Jays come from behind in the late innings and sprint away with a 9-2 victory. And the Cubs have gotten a heavy dose of Jose Bautista. He has knocked in 7 runs in the first 2 games of this series. A 3-run homer to put it out of reach last night. A go-ahead 3-run double in the 7th tonight.
Well, Blue Jays played add-on after this, but that was clearly the most significant at-bat in the game. And back on that by Bautista. Ultimately turned around that 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Ramirez.
So he's our GMC player of the game, and that will wrap it up from here for JD and our entire crew. Len Casper with your final from Toronto. Blue Jays 9, Cubs 2. We're back with you tomorrow at 6 to wrap up this series as the Cubs try to avoid the sweep. Up next, Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs post-game live.